Good job. That's good. Well, hey, welcome. We are glad that you're here. My name's Chris, and we are in a series right now called You Are Here, and we started with an idea 2 weeks or so ago. I'm a little foggy on the memory right now. We started with this idea that everybody is at a place in their life, and we are trying to go somewhere. And you remember I talked about the mall and rent-a-cops and all these different things you run into in the mall. You remember that? And the deal was this. I said, where you are in life, that point that you are at in life, will always be determined by where you are in relation to the cross. Think about that. Because if you are far from the cross, say for instance you're living in your past, like we talked about 2 weeks ago, you will never be able to see what God has in front of you. Because you are staying in your past and it's a pity party and you can't get over it. So we talked about really moving on and moving from your past, no matter what it was, no matter what you're struggling with, but really taking an honest look at our lives and saying, yes, I know I have a past, but I also know that I have a future and I want to move towards that future. In order to do that, we have to be authentic, we have to be real. And last week we talked about fakers. You remember that? I almost hit somebody in the head with a 2x4. Because we talked about when we're fake, normally what we do is we judge others because we don't like people looking at us and judging us. So the easy thing is to judge others however we can so the eyes are off us and on others. And the deal was, like, if you're not going to be authentic, how are you going to get to God? I mean, if you're just going to live your life faking it, one, people are going to be really annoyed with you because nobody likes the person that's fake, right? And two, how are you ever going to have an honest relationship with God if you are just walking through life completely faking it? That was the easy part of this series. Because tonight we're looking at the future. And how do you prepare a message about the future? You don't know what the future is, okay? That's the hard part about tonight. When you think about the future, what do you think about? This is what I think about. I think about those infomercials you used to see really, really late at night with the tarot cards. And they had like the line you could call in and they would tell you your future over the phone without even being there. Over by my chiropractor on Highway 6, there's this shady massage / fortune telling place. You can get a massage and your fortune. And I didn't go in there because they told me it was weird. All right? That's what I think about when I think about the future. How do you really know the future? How do you know? Somebody says, well, it's God's will that you're going to do this. How do we know what God's will is? We don't. We have no clue about what the future holds or what's going to happen 10 minutes from now or when we get in our cars and we leave here tonight. You have no idea what could happen. But here's the thing about the future. No matter what you think about the future requires some measure of faith. Now think about that. The future requires some measure of faith because you have no idea what's going to happen. And so you have to put your faith in something, whether it's God. I mean, I put my faith in God. I believe that I made a decision for Christ. The Bible tells me that I will live for eternity in heaven. Some people may put their faith in Buddha or Mahatma Gandhi. I have no idea. I met a guy one time on the streets of Chicago. He said he was a pastafarian. A pastafarian. They prayed to the spaghetti god. And this is not a joke. His faith was in this god of spaghetti. It was the stupidest thing that I have ever heard in my life. But it proves the point that the future requires some measure of faith, no matter what it is. And that's hard because you can't see what you have faith in. I've never seen Jesus Christ face to face. I haven't. Yet I believe in him. I trust what the Bible says about him. But that's the scary part about faith. You have no idea what's going to happen. For instance, if I was to come right here and say, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to fall back. I don't know if anybody's going to catch me. I'm going to put my faith in a few good men. I'm going to live by faith right now. Here it goes. That could have gone one of two ways. We might have need call facilities to get a mop in here. Faith is not easy, y'all. It's not. Because you don't know. I didn't know if Corbin was going to catch me. He could have played a real cool prank on me. And broken back, broken shoulder. But that's the deal. But here's why it's so important. This is why it's absolutely vital that we think about the faith in your future. Because the future is 100% completely out of our control. It is completely out of our control. So my first question is this: what is your faith in? Is it God? Is it yourself? Is it the group of people you hang around with? Money? Sex? Power? Because people put their faith in a lot of different things. What's yours in? As we look at tonight, that's a starting point. What is our faith in? What are we really, really trusting in? As we take an honest look at the future. If you have a Bible, open to James 4. James 4 will be up on the screen behind me. You can follow along. James 4:13. Now keep in mind, James is writing to believers. These people believe in Jesus Christ. They're kind of scattered around because of persecution. But they kind of have an idea of what's going on. They kind of got this nice little plan. They're not too different from us if you really think about it. James 4, verse 13, this is what he says. He says, "Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city. Spend a year there, carry on business, and make money." Look at verse 14. It says, "Why, you do not even know what will happen tomorrow." What is your life? You got all these plans for the future. You got all these plans. We're going to make money. We're going to do business. We're going to do all this stuff. And it's like James hits him in the head with a 2x4 and says, you have no idea what's even going to happen tomorrow. What is your life? Really, what is your life? This is what James says. They're thinking about it. He says, well, let me help you. He says, you are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. In November, my wife and I, we took a cruise with some friends of ours. And if you've ever been on a cruise, you know the rooms are not very big. You fit 4 beds in very weird and all this weird stuff. And the bathrooms are not big at all. I mean, tiny, tiny bathrooms. I mean, really, if you're sitting on the toilet, like one leg is in the shower and the other leg is like under the sink, okay? It's very weird. It was a good weird experience. But in the shower, when you get in, it's not a dial that says H, on one side, and C or whatever. It's this sliding thing. It's flat, and on the top is red, and on the bottom is blue. And it goes by temperature. So you just said if you want it hot, you move it up. If you want it a little cooler, you move it down. My number was between 25 and 30. Cold shower. That's just what I can't stand hot showers, especially when you're in Mexico. It's so hot outside. Why would you want to come back and take a 100-degree shower? You're sweating when you get out, okay? I hate that. So I took a cold shower all week long. My wife gets in, and one morning I got in after her, and I look, and that joker is like pumped up to like 118. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding? Do you still have flesh? Is it like burned off from the scalding hot water? And so she would come out of there, and you pulled it. Everything is sealed on a cruise ship, so it's real well insulated. And she pulled this door open, and it's like this fog just comes out like this. It's like an Aerosmith concert back in the day. Like they come on the stage, and it's fog everywhere. All right, it's kind of like what we try to do, but a little more. Okay, and she comes out, and it's this fog. And I have to wait like 5 minutes to get in there. And when you get in there, you see all this steam all over. But as soon as you open that door and the air hits it, that mist is gone very quick. And James says, this is what your life is. It's a mist that's here for a little while, but very quickly it starts to go away. What is your life? How are you going to say tomorrow or this or that? We have all these plans that are happening when you have no idea.